Like a Mahapurkh that we did Sangat of, they would say to us, "Kande sanu kiya sareer chhaddana, appa da Malik di godi ch beh jana jaake." And they would say, like, for us, leaving the body, no problem. So we're just going to go and sit in our master's lap. Yeah. And that's what this is, that path, you're going to be honored. And honor could be seen to be that you are going to be hugged by Waheguru. But when Waheguru hugs you, you're one of the same then. And that's the honor. Yeah. And that's what it means to be famous. When the creator is saying, "Yo, waiting for you, bro. Come on. Let's chill." That's the fame we want. When we're recognized by the creator and not by the messengers of death and saying, "Yo, come here." You're in trouble. Welcome to the Japji Sahib Podcast. In this episode, we'll be going through the 14th stanza given to us by Guru Nanak Dev Ji. What we're going to be looking at is, what is Dharam? What is the Dharam as translated to righteousness? What is this righteousness that Guru Nanak talks about? Has it come from a gathering of people that sat down and tried to work out what Dharam should be, so righteousness should be based on just certain morals and ethics? And is that how they've come to a conclusion of what righteousness is? Let's go straight into it. Saying a fateh to preacher and sing first. Waheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji ki Fateh. Guru Sahib Ji here. So the translation to Manai we've done many of times in the previous episodes, and that state of complete devotion. So through that devotion, Manai Maarag Thak na paye. Maarag means path, and then Thak means stop. When something comes in your way and stops you and throws you off your path of devotion back to that one. And na paye, but nothing comes in your way. And I was just thinking about that. The easiest way for us to understand that is, if we take an example of Bhai Lehna Ji serving Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he was just in this state of complete devotion towards Guru Nanak Dev Ji. He was literally just waiting and hanging on each word that Guru Nanak Dev Ji would give him. It was like, just as per Guru Nanak Dev Ji's words, that ek shabad mere pran basta hai, that even if I could just take shabad here, meaning even just one word, if I could just take one word of my Guru and I could instill that deep into my breath, and bahod janamana ava, and then there's just I'll be broken out of that cycle of birth and death. And even if you look at the way that journey started for Bhai Lehna Ji, it started from hearing Guru Nanak Dev Ji's words from a Sikh by the name of Baljit. And Baljit was singing some of the sloks from Aisa Naam. And it would have, back then, it would have only been Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Bani. And so he was singing that in the morning, and he was singing Jit Seviye Sukh Paiye So Sahib Sada Samaliye. So Jit Seviye Sukh Paiye So Sahib Sada Samaliye. Bhai Lehna Ji, when he heard this, and so it already started his journey of devotion from that very first moment of hearing these words. And he was already in a state of humility to be able to receive it. And what he heard was, upon serving that one, that you'll receive this eternal peace and sukh within by devoting yourself to that master. And when he heard this, because he was a devotee of a goddess and still hadn't yet found that complete inner peace and that eternal peace. And so, but because of the humility, the words were able to pierce him. Guru Ram Das Ji saying, Har prem bani man marya, aniyale aniya Ram Raj. And he was struck by that arrow, and such an arrow where it's shaped in such a way at the front that you can't just pull it out now. Because if you do pull it out, it's going to rip your organs out as well. That's a aniya arrow. And then Har Prem Bani. So he actually heard the words of that filled with love of Waheguru. Jit Seviye Sukh Paiye. So that started his journey. And already now that starts to set him off in this devotion. So when he comes to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, how is it then Manai Maarag Thak na paye? When you are serving in that state of devotion, waiting for each word, what the Guru is asking you to do, you're completely dedicated to listening what the Guru is saying. And whatever the Guru says, you're in a state of complete sweet acceptance to it. Yeah. And there's, the famous, the 10 pabbe, the Pabba Bhala. And this is how Guru Angad Dev Ji served. Even though these 3 pabbe then became more famous with Bibi Pani Ji later on, Guru Amar Das Ji's daughter, that's how she served her father. But they actually started from Bailana Ji. Bailana Ji served with those 10 pabbe, that Pabba Bhala, and that whatever you say for me and you instruct for me it's got to be Bhala, it's got to be good. It's that complete faith and devotion in that. And that's how you give yourself to a guru, and that's Manai Bhala. And there's where Guru Nanak Dev Ji talk about that themselves, and they say that Jo kich kare so bhala kar maniye, hikmat hukam chukaiye. They're saying that jo kich kare, so whatever you do, so bhala kar maniye, I receive that, I take that to be the absolute perfect thing, to be good. Hikmat hukam chukaiye. That hikmat, my own cleverness, and me trying to use my own hukam, my own order against my guru and God, that's gone. Because we often do, we'll say to the guru, shouldn't it be like this? Yeah, we question it. Maybe you've messed up a bit. Yeah. But that's not Manai. Manai is Bailana Ji, Baba Bhala. And then what's the other 2? There's Bhana.
Bhana, yeah.
And then there is Bhul Gaya. And if you ever get it wrong, so if you do follow the Guru, whatever the Guru has said, and the result of it was that things kind of fell apart or whatever happened, it's never that you must have told me wrong. It's I've not done it right. That Kabir sacha Satguru kya kare jo sikham hai chook, that, and that's a state of a devotee. That's Manai. That what can, it's not the guru, it's what have I done? I've made a mistake, I've done something here. And then Bhana is to say that I always want to stay in your will, to the Guru. And this was by Bailana Ji at that state of Manai. And how is it then taken up by? So if you think about this, Vijay, imagine being in that state. You're there now to your Guru's word. There's no space for anger. Because you're not serving an ego now. You haven't got I know best, and I'm going to try it this way. Yeah. So where there's no ego, because home vich seva na hovei, Guru Sahib Ji say to us. It says it's not possible to serve in home, in ego. You're not serving then. Yeah. So Manai is that state of serving, but there's no ego there. Ta man birtha jaye. And then Guru Sahib Ji saying, if you are serving in ego, then you end up going empty. That's what Guru Sahib Ji say, that home vajitita, home vachalaya, that you end up giving with the I am, the ego is there saying, look what I'm doing, I'm giving, I'm taking. And, but this state is just beyond ego. So if somebody is now saying that I'm serving the Guru, and they say, but I got angry, that means they're still serving with the ego yet.
Yeah.
Because anger can only come from ego. Yeah. It's not possible to get angry without the ego. Because the ego tries to protect itself. So because the Guru could make you do all sorts. Yeah. The Guru could be saying to you, well, I want the wall made tonight. Yeah, but it's raining. I want a wall made. It's irrelevant whether it's raining, it's dark, you're not a brickie. Yeah. I don't care. I just want a wall. Yeah. And if you now say that, well, that makes no sense, and he doesn't know what he's doing, but I suppose I've got to do it anyway. And then you start doing it, and it does fall over because it's raining, you're going to get angry. Because you've already set off with, it doesn't make sense. And that's the ego talking. I know. I know best. Yeah. So, but in that state, you can't serve. But Bhai Lehna Ji didn't have that. That's what Manai is. So then, if there's no ego, there's nothing to get angry. Because what gets angry in that situation, what would have got angry is that, well, I've got this intellect to know that you don't make a wall in the rain. I know that. Yeah. So he hasn't done bricklaying before. Maybe he's not even seen it done before. So he doesn't really know. Yeah. And then you do it anyway. But because now there's already something to get angry. So the possibility is there now. But when you're in manna, in that devotion, like you're just there, like what? A wall in the rain. There's nothing, there's no thought. Why, what, who, there's nothing. Because it's never about the wall. Building a wall. By the way, this happened, just to let the Sangat know, Guru Nanak Dev Ji did ask the Sangat to build a wall in the middle of the night without any lights, whilst it was raining. So that did happen. And
you talk about this in the Travelling of Guru Nanak.
Travelling Light of Guru Nanak.
Travelling Light of Guru Nanak series. Is it the second video?
Second video, yes.
That's on Guru Angad Dev Ji. So we'll leave a link in the description for that. No?
Perfect. Yeah.
If you want to know what happens.
Yes. So the stories, it's real. I've not just made one up, by the way. And because it was never about the wall. It was about you just becoming this devotee, and there's just, nothing there you're not trying to, and it's about, okay, let's put it this way. Let's look at it this way. Ego's present, but you're aware of it. Yeah. But you're here now to completely devote yourself to the Guru. But now you're open for that ego to be hit. Yeah. Remember we used the lines the other day, which was Guru Nanak har diradaya pannan kadan samratha. Because then somebody could argue, well, then if your ego isn't present in that moment, then there's no work to do. So if we look at it this way, that we know that the ego is present and I've got work to do, but we're here placing the ego there and saying, I don't know how to get rid of it, and I want you to smash this for me. But then But if you question how that's going to be smashed, is then you're going to be consumed by that identity. The difference. There's one where you're saying you want that identity to be broken down. Yeah. And then there's the other one where you're saying, where you become that identity and saying, no, don't hit me. Thank you very much. That hurts. Like, don't be telling me like to make a wall in the middle of the night. Don't you know who I am? I used to have a shop and I was doing quite well. Biology had a shop before, and financially they were doing really well. Everything was set. So you could have easily said, I'm a shopkeeper. That's my identity. Make a wall at night. No thanks. Makes no sense. That's then now you have given into your identity. You've become the ego. And there's one thing, there's an ego, and you're saying, can you do something with this, please, Guru Sahib? Yeah. And that's when you're saying that, well, okay. Then Guru Sahib saying, Guru Nanak, that here, the way we would actually translate this is that Nanak is saying, that the Guru will give you the name of God and instill the name of God inside of you. But to have the name of God instilled inside of you, yes, we know the way this is translated is that Bhana is that one is the one that can destroy this entire creation and body. But if we looked at it in another way, just so that Sangat doesn't get confused and say, why is he translating it differently? But if we use the same attributes and the nature of God there, but what we're saying is, what does it mean to get to the name of God and to instill it inside of us? The first step is Bhana, is the ego is present, but I am here as a devotee to have it smashed. Yeah. So I'm placing it before you to break it down for me. So in that way, you can be in a state of Manai as well. So you're still devoted. So you're still there. You're there with complete sheer dedication. You're there with love. You're not questioning anything. There's no condition there. You're just there. Yeah. And you're saying, I need this broken down for me. Pannan. Karan. And then Pailanaji runs. Because then what is happening is, then that's been broken down. So you're recognizing that there's an identity there, and so you're not consumed by it, and you're willing for it to be broken. Yeah.
Man kaspatti lave.
Yeah, it's because the mind is made up of ego. Yeah, with identities. So what it needs is, it needs that kot. Yeah, well, it's onkad here, kot. Yeah.
Did I say it wrong?
Sorry?
Did I say it wrong?
No, it was fine. I think it was more me. Yeah. I was saying it more of a like, oh. So it's kot. Yeah, that it needs to be battered. Yeah, manaka sabati lave. So it's put to that test. And so I think it was important to clarify in which way you serve without an ego. Yeah, there's layers of identity there, but you're willing for them to be broken down, and you're not coming with that identity. Well, I'm this. When you come with that, then you can't be worked on. You're already denying. You're saying, nah, forget that.
And you're even leaving the outcome to Guruji as well, because you could even say that like, here's my ego, but you're trying to say, this is how you're going to work on me. Yes, and even that isn't a surrender. That's not Manai. No. That's calculated.
Yes.
And that's a layer of ego.
Yeah.
So it's a complete surrender. It's like, here you go. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is you're going to do, but here you go. Here's my faith. Here's my love. Here's my everything.
Yeah, because I could turn around and say, well, do I have to make the wall? Can't you just talk to me?
Yeah.
Can we just have some talking therapy?
Yeah. I need this to get better.
Yeah. Well, no, you were asked to, just like, Karate Kid. He was asked to wax on, wax off.
Yeah.
And he was confused. Yeah, and we could end up doing the same thing, but like, no, why you like this? And that's really good for me. It's a good learning for me. And so thank you for bringing that up.
But it will, you'll find in life, won't you, that when you look back on a situation, be like, I see how it had to happen that way.
Yeah.
And it worked. I mean, hopefully it was the right way that you learned the lesson, not the through the pain. But you find if you do go through that, listening to that intuition, because, Guru Sahib isn't telling you to build a wall, but they are talking to you through your intuition. We've been talking about that for the last several episodes. And that's the same thing, is what you need to do individually, what I need to do individually. I'm hearing that, I'm absorbing it, and then I'm surrendering to it. I'm trying to and say, right, you've told me this through my Shabad Guru, through the inner voice of Guruji speaking to you, and then you're responding to that in humility and surrender, basically saying that this is the opportunity to break down the ego further.
Yeah. The other thing I think, like, to come from the back of that is that message, because if we're open to it, could also come simply from a Hukamnama Sahib. We could walk into a program, and because remember, the inner voice and the Guru's voice is the same, and whatever, even a Hukamnama, when it's taken with that complete, again, devotion to the Guru, exactly what we need to work on in which way in that moment could just come to us through a Hukamnama, through Guru Sahib speaking to us that way.
You think it's important then to ask the right questions to Guruji? You know that Shabad, the Soi Karai Jot the Bhava, and you kind of say that the reins are with you. So you don't say like, show me how to deal with this specific situation in this specific way. Should I do X or Y? Is it that you kind of surrender in that way and say, show me the way, and kind of leave it open? Like when you're trying to get that advice or trying to understand how to grow in a way, if you're struggling with something, to get to that Manai Maarag Thagna by, how can you overcome that through Hukamnama then? How would you approach it?
I think the way I'm looking at it as we're talking is that, say if we've already started off from that place and we're doing the Ardas Soi Karai Joto the Pave, that allow me only to do that what is pleasing to you. And what we're saying here is that what to do might not just come from the inner voice, because we might have missed it, we might not have picked up on it, might not be in tune with it in that moment, but it doesn't mean it's only going to come from that place, because it could come because Waheguru is at the core of everything, and Waheguru is at the core of Gurbani. So we're open now, saying Soi Karai Jota the Pape, only allow me to do that what pleases you. But we don't know what that is yet, and we're not getting it. Like remember Bhagat Ravidas ji saying that Karan Kavan Abo, like what's the reason you've gone silent? I'm not hearing you. So if it may not come from inside, but I'm open, I'm doing the Ardas, we might walk into a program, a Kirtan Dwan, a program, and then it comes from the Hukamnama, from the Kirtan, and it becomes so clear what to do. Yeah. And then it just becomes clear what to do in that situation through a Shabad. In that Shabad, it might be saying to you, a Maharaj might turn around and say something like, Pakka Feri Pani Tova. Like you might need to do something more physical here at the moment to kind of to break through this, what you're struggling with. So it might become, very clear. It might come in a very clear way to us what to do, but we've got to be open to it and know it's coming from that place. Or it might just be that you need to listen to Kirtan more in Sangat. And there's that Shabad where it says that Har Kirta Sad Sangat hai, Sir Karman Kaya Karma. Guru Sahib Ji might give us that message. What you need in this moment in your life is that you need to be in Sad Sangat more, in that collective company of Sangat that is yearning for Waheguru. and you need to just sit there and praise Waheguru through singing, and you get it from somewhere. But then you realize if you go inside, then that'll help you to connect to inside as well. You'll realize it's the same. That's guiding you that way as well, that you need more sangat in this moment.
So just to sum up what you've said, you're looking for that message and that intuition. Your
heart's open to
it. You fall at it and you hear something. And through then following that's the manna. And because of that, how could any of the Banjor stop you?
Yeah, because you are in that complete state. I was trying not to say state of mindset, but it's this opening. You're just open, aren't you? And when you're open and you're then walking with devotion, with that dedication to hearing that one, just like Bailanaji was, just built the wall because the task was irrelevant, because it was about being broken down. Yeah, that identity being broken down. And then you just follow that and you get broken because it's what you needed in that moment. That's what was going to work for you, you following that. And so there's this magic to living life like that, with this sense of openness and intuitive listening. And then you just you're guided to the right place to do the right thing. And that right thing, right place is your righteousness then. That's your dharam. When Bailanaji would have been making that wall, whilst doing that, because that was the instruction at that time, make the wall. Like we said, that instruction could have been sit in Sad Sangat, sing Kirtan, Ahara Kirat Sad Sangha. And then, but doing that was going to be breaking down that identity. And for somebody else, it could be sitting in the Sad Sangha, because that was the message. Just like the wall, same thing. But being there then is going to be breaking down your wall. Because this is all about Give Sjara Huye. Isn't it? Give Kude Tutte Pal. How do I break that? How do I become Satyar, the truth? So, okay, let's move to the next Pangati. Manai Maarag thak na paye, Manai Pat se pragat jaye. When you live your life like that, in that complete surrender, then Guru Sahib Ji says you leave this world with Pat, with honor. Yeah. And Pargat means you become known for somebody that was in that state. Like some people take things very literally, so yes, there's always going to be people that spoke against you and didn't feel that way. But Guru Sahib Ji is saying this at a much a bigger picture and a deeper way, in which way you go with honor. Like it doesn't matter that the whole world and the people of this world didn't see you like that or didn't honor you, because it's not that. But you've gone with honor in the eyes of God. That's what matters. Yeah. Because even today's saints, Baba Ishar Singh Ji Rada Sahib wale, they went with honor. They saved so many other people in this life. Yeah. But not everyone, even today, speaks well of them. Still, people today speak ill of them, but doesn't mean they didn't go with honor. Even though there's more that speak, well of them than that speak ill of them. But it's not that people don't speak ill of them. So that shouldn't become our measure to say, well, maybe they haven't gone with honor because there's some people that still say that. That's not the measure. If anyone that's lived in devotion has gone to God with honor, and going to God with honor, and Pargat could be even like when you leave this body, they're famous in that world. In which way? It means that, like a Mahapurkh that we did Sangat of, they would say to us, "Kande sanu kiya sareer chhaddana, Appa da Marik di godi ch beh jana jaake. And they would say, like, for us, leaving the body, no problem. So we're just going to go and sit in our master's lap. Yeah. And that's what this is, that path, you're going to be honored. And honor could be seen to be that you are going to be hugged by Waheguru. But when Waheguru hugs you, you're one of the same then. And that's the honor. Yeah. And that's what it means to be famous. When the creator is saying, yo, waiting for you, bro. Come on. Let's chill. Now that's the fame we want. When we're recognized by the creator and not by the messengers of death and saying, yo, come here. You're in trouble. So then Manai Mag na challe panth. Again, Maharaj is saying here that through that devotion, living like Bhai Lehna ji, and is Magna Challe Panth. Panth means path, and Mag means path as well. So what's been said here is the Panth, the second Panth, is referring to somebody that is just on the path of empty religious rituals. And they're saying, but one that's in a state of devotion, they won't be stuck in anything empty. Bhai Lehna ji did nothing empty. Yeah. They didn't just sit there and do something for the sake of it, to receive something, to receive some sort of material gain, for the purpose of material gain, or to say, I'm doing this, then I should get this back, or just sit there like, completely dead, feeling nothing and just reciting something, and there's no devotion towards anything. There's nothing, your heart's not filled with anything. And some people, it's not to say that some of us may not need to start there, but this is Manai here. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about somebody that isn't feeling it but still needs to start somewhere. Because Bhai Gurdas ji and Guru Granth Sahib ji talk about that. So here Bhai Gurdas ji saying that Sila aluni chattani lak amrit rasa tarsan sira. And what's being said here is that when we're asked to do a task in the beginning, we might not be at that state of devotion where we're just full of love. There's two ways of looking at this, and where it's actually feeling quite dry, but we're still following what the Guru's doing. And so you're still accepting, you're still listening, but you might not be filled with that. It's feeling like this amrit, this nectar inside. The task you're doing itself might be like licking a stone, like just no taste at all in the beginning. But then it says that Sila aluni chattani lakha amrit rasa tarsan sira. But so when we're doing that, when we sit down to do a certain task, read Gurbani first, to forgive someone even, and whatever it is, but it's like licking a stone. But what we want is, we want it to be like nectar, because that's what with tarsing for that. That's what we're striving for it. This is going to be sweet, what we're being asked to do. But that's not what it's about, because Bhai Gurdas ji said, Virla Sikh Sone Guru Pira. There's only those that are rare and few that listen to the Guru. Yeah. And that's what it was about. It's not about how much pleasure we got from it in that moment, but it's about what it's doing for us on a bigger picture, what it's doing for us, how it's breaking down. Because sometimes we just end up chasing pleasure even from those tasks, and we don't get pleasure from it, and we think, what's the point? This ain't working. Not realizing this is supposed to be working in a different way, in a way that where your ego has been broken down. So now Manai Mag na challe panth. But somebody that's in that state of devotion, that nothing they do is empty, because they're doing it in a state of whatever the task is. It doesn't matter how it makes me feel, the actual work itself, but I'm doing it with surrender. And it's the doing it in surrender is what is destroying the ego. That make sense?
Complete sense. And who was the other one building the wall?
By Baba Shri Chand and Baba Lakshmi Das.
So
they didn't even bother.
So they didn't even bother. I was gonna say, like, if they may have been as good at making a wall as Bhala.
Yeah.
Because of their approach to it, it wasn't the technical skill of it. But if they did do it, it would have been an empty ritual.
Yes.
Because of the way they approached it.
Yeah.
And it's what you said at the previous, recent Divan about the difference between a Nemi and a Brimi.
Mm-hmm.
And, please, explain that, because it was amazing.
Yeah.
Vichar.
So even though we've got to start as Nemi, we've got to have discipline in our life and just sit down and do something. But then if we go further than that, I think I'm learning something as we're talking in this podcast, which is why it might feel to some that we've gone a bit back and forth and contradicted, but it's just to show the power of Sangat, because we're doing Sangat right now. And it'd be great for Sangat that listening to this to acknowledge that we're doing Sangat together. And as we're going through the Shabad, there's more things that have been revealed to us. So in that sense, then, the Nemi that Guru Amar Das Ji referred to at that point, to when they asked their son-in-laws to carry out a task of building a stool, was they said one's a Nemi, meaning that one's just doing empty rituals. They're not surrendering to when they've been asked to do something. They still are trying to work it out that they've got to get the stool perfect. Or they've got to feel something from it. They've got to feel a pleasure from it, like, ooh, that was amazing. But it was never about you feeling amazing in that moment. It was about being a premi, which you didn't care about if it gave you a sense of pleasure whilst carrying out that job. You don't care whether you make it right or not. You're just following the Guru. And it's following what the Guru is saying that is getting you back to your Atma, to your soul, to Vaheguru. And that is then a premi. So I shouldn't be looking for, when I do my part, that if it makes me tingle from inside. Or if it feels like there's fireworks in my brain. But it's, if I forgive someone in that moment, it might feel like even licking a stone. But as I'm doing that, as I'm following the Guru, and it's taking me back to my Atma, if I end up actually forgiving someone, it's where it's taking me, not the way it's, because we're so used to the way something makes us feel on a sensory level. Because we want to eat food and we want it to feel amazing. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. We're not saying there's anything wrong with that. But we end up then connecting those experiences to spiritual experiences too. So then we're thinking the Kirtan should make us feel a certain way. But it's more about where it takes you. Is it taking you back to your Atma? Is it breaking down your identity that is consuming you? That's what it's really about. And so now, Manai Mag chale panth. So nothing a devotee does is a ritual then. Because everything they're doing it for the sake of just following the Guru in surrender and to be broken down. Manai Dharam seti sanabandh. Somebody that is in Manai is then seti, means with. Sanabandh means related. Is their reshta, their relation, not related, their relation, meaning connected. They're connected then to that righteousness. And here the righteousness is just the listening of whatever it is. Whatever Guru Nanak's telling us to do, whatever the inside intuition is telling us to do. By the way, they're one of the same. That the dharam is that, whatever is coming from there. So it's not that our dharam is to build a wall. Our dharam is to just follow the Guru and follow the intuition. And where is that? And what is then the dharam here? The dharam, what that means is the nature, our true dharam is the nature of our soul. The nature of our soul is love. Guru Sahib's told us that. Hoye Falyo Narag is that one. Just, it's always good to bring the Bhangtiyan back up, just so that Sangat doesn't say to us that you're making up what the nature of the soul is. That Guru Gobind Singh Ji is saying that God is immersed everywhere in all directions. And how did Guru Gobind Singh Ji refer to God in this context here, or in this Bhangti line here, is Anurag, is love. So the dharam of our soul, remember dharam also means nature. So the dharam of our soul is love. The dharam of our soul is also Agade, Abade, Anandi Swarupe, is bliss. The reason why I feel it's so important to bring the Bhangti up is just again to say that, so the Sangat knows that the Guru that has is that light, knows what the nature of that light is. Yeah. And okay, there we go. So if we focus on the next part, Anandi Swarupe, so that the form of that one is Anand, is bliss. So this now is so important for us to understand that Manai Dharam se Tisana Bandh, the intuition is coming from Anand, Pyar, from love, from compassion, from these. It's just what it is. It's just what we are from inside. Yeah. If we follow that, it's taking us to that, to our nature. If we think we're following it and we're becoming more angry, we're not following intuition then. That can't be intuition then. We're not in Manai then. We're following the noise of our mind, the calculation. If it's come from love, and then we become bound to love, dharam se tisana bandh, we are now in the state of Manai. We are bound to our true nature, which is the soul, and that is dharam, that is righteousness. So righteousness is not what a group of people sit down and try and work out what is right or wrong in this world. It's the nature of our soul. It's whatever comes from that.
And that will always guide us in the right way.
It'll always be from love. It'll always be from compassion. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the 14th Pauri. Aisa Naam, Niranjan hoye, such is the name of the Immaculate One. Je ko man jane man koe. Only those with devotion will know in their mind just how immaculate the One's name is. Because you'll know when you're following that intuition how pure that is, where it's coming from. It's coming from pure love, you know. And then the action is from there, rang hasse. You're laughing from there. And rove, you're crying from there. It's everything becomes pure then. Whether you see, the action doesn't matter because it's where it's coming from. Because then your laugh becomes pure, then your cry becomes pure, your silence becomes pure, everything's pure. That's righteousness. There you go. Yeah, so Sangat, you keep joining us because we're learning as we are talking, as you just saw today. things became clear as we were going through this. So we call this doing Sangat. And join us for the next body for Manai Pat hai Mukh Dwar. So see you at the next episode. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Please donate and help spread Guruji's message. Link is in the description below. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.